Hello everyone, we are Sana Damani, Win Win, and Vasha Koteshvaran. Today we would like to present to you about our research projects with Sanofi. Let us have a look at the content before diving into the details. Here we would like to walk you through a little bit about Sanofi as a company with some basic information. What is this business about? And where are they located? Secondly, we will look a bit deeper into their sales figures by business units on a global level. What's important to note is how Sanofi is doing compared to other pharmaceutical companies and how much they are penetrating in the market. We would like to then also share with you about the current plan Sanofi has for their research and development projects. And last but not least, a SWOT analysis can give you a comprehensive understanding about Sanofi as a company. As the name suggests, we will look at what are their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. After we have a good understanding about Sanofi, we would like to present to you our research projects with this company. Vasha will briefly talk with you about her research on one of the hottest topics of this year, the COVID-19 vaccination. I myself took on the challenge to research on the gene therapy, and Sana will take you through the important acquisitions that Sanofi has achieved in the past few decades, making the company to its size today. And now, let us walk you through a brief overview about Sanofi.
Sanofi is a French multinational pharmaceutical company headquartered in Paris, France, and it's the world's fifth largest by prescription sales. They cover 7 major therapeutic areas like central nervous system, diabetes, internal medicines, oncology, thrombosis, vaccines, and cardiovascular. The major competitors of Sanofi are Sandoz, a Novartis division, Merck, Mylan, Roche, and Teva. The current stock value of Sanofi is €78. Sanofi has successfully collaborated with GSK, GlaxoSmithKline, and Translate Bio to produce the COVID vaccines. And Sanofi has also acquired Principia Biopharma for its BTK inhibitor, and they have also acquired Cadis Pharma for expanding its immuno-oncological pipeline. The third quarter 2020 net sales by global business unit. The third quarter 2020 pharmaceutical sales has increased by 4.5%, with the double-digit growth of specialty care portfolio that is mainly driven by the strong performance of Dupixent. And there is a lower sales in general medicines due to the pricing pressure of VBP, volume-based procurement. And for the first 9 months, the pharmaceutical sales has increased by 3.3%, that is driven by the strong performance of specialty care. And in the second pie chart, we see that the ratio of business of operating income to net sales is increased to 1.4%.
According to the website of Pharmaceutical Technology, in 2018, Sanofi is placed number 7 in the global market based on their total sales of new and existing drugs with focus on oncology, immunology, and nervous system. The global pharmaceutical market was worth at the time about $950 billion, and Sanofi is in charge of 4.11%. This number is still quite humble compared to the other market leaders such as Pfizer and Novartis. Currently, research and development pipeline in Sanofi is quite active. As you can see here in this slide, from now until at least 2023, There are several important projects which are going to phase 2 and phase 3 in clinical trials. What else, which is important to note here, is that they're also attempting to bring COVID-19 vaccination to the market as quickly as possible. Their plan is to have the two candidates, as you see here in this graph, into the second trial as early as middle of the year 2021.
SWOT analysis. One of the biggest strengths of Sanofi is it maintains a prominent position in the market. Over-dependence on the flagship product is one of the weaknesses, and pricing pressure has become a threat for Sanofi as they have led to the lower net sales of general medicines.
As a business model example, we are going to take the value chain, which starts by R&D. In 2013, Sanofi had the best R&D organization in the pharmaceutical area. The second part of the value chain is represented by clinical development. As a matter of fact, Sanofi aims at a more efficient focus on patients' needs, like for example, more investment in rare diseases. In production, it is helping new structure in their production process. On the marketing and distribution process, it is relying on scientific expertise, high quality service, and reinforcing partnership.
So for the individual presentation, I have chosen research and development of Sanofi, and I would like to focus on COVID-19 vaccine. So Sanofi has joined forces to develop COVID-19 vaccines. So I would like to focus on how the newer technology can deliver strong protection while becoming even more tolerable. How do they catch up with vaccination for herd immunity? What are the measures being taken during the clinical trials? How do they recruit volunteers and measure the result of clinical trials, and etc. And Sanofi has two vaccine approaches, the R proteins plus adjuvant approach and the mRNA approach. The first candidate is the recombinant protein adjuvant vaccine that is developed in partnership with GSK. And the phase 3 clinical trial is expected to start in the mid of December 2020. And the second vaccine candidate uses the novel messenger RNA technology, and it's being developed in partnership with Translate Bio. It's the phase 1 and phase 2 trials that started in the mid of September 2020. These are the three different types or methods that shows how are we going to approach this topic in the upcoming months. One is the literature research. It shows that how are they working with the healthcare providers to create new ways and they can deliver the recommended vaccination safely. The second is the case study. It measures the vaccine candidate immunogenicity, tolerability, efficacy, and monitor its safety. And last comes the online research. Here we can expect the both cases, the both vaccine approaches, and to see how are they trained to be more quick in identifying the virus and combat it.
Now, I would like to briefly speak about the project that I have chosen to research on. The topic will be about gene therapy research in Sanofi. So, let us now look about gene therapy and what it actually is. Gene therapy, or sometimes called gene transfer, is a medical field which focuses on utilizing the nucleic acids to convey the therapeutic treatments into a patient's cells. It is then often used as a drug to treat or prevent the genetic diseases. Nowadays, it is often discussed to be one cure which can treat most of the diseases. However, it also causes some controversies due to the challenging and unexpected experiments results. And on top of that, some cultures also do not approve the usage of stem cells from the human embryos. Sanofi as a company, is currently conducting research to unlock the potential of the gene therapy in two of their main R&D focuses, the rare blood disorders, or RBD in short, and neurologic diseases. Recently, in 2019, Sanofi has restructured their R&D planning and switched the focus to invest more into the gene therapy, and this will be the focus of the research projects with the upcoming objectives. As Sanofi decided to invest more into gene therapy with the high hope that it will be applied to cure all kinds of challenging diseases, I would like to ask a big question if this has made any impact to the company's reputation already on the market. And besides, I would like to also challenge the company if their current structure and factors is the most optimal. My plan to tackle this is to look at different aspects. What is now the current priority of gene therapy in Sanofi, and if this has brought any challenges or changes to the business model. Secondly, I would like to take a closer look into their processes from initial planning to implementation of experiments and potentially rollout to actual patients. So the questions here are, what are the challenges they have met along the road? And what is the success rate so far? Thirdly, besides the hard work that Sanofi is doing, I would like to also have a look at the different challenges that they may face, and let it be the competition, the regulations, the patents, or even the ethical challenges itself in some of the local companies that Sanofi is operating in. Finally, with all the analysis and research above, we can then answer the question, what is the future of gene therapy in Sanofi and how effective it is in contributing to the global health economics? With those objectives and questions addressed, there are different methods that I would like to apply in this research. Primarily, literature and online researches are the major methods which will allow us to look into the most relevant information about gene therapy as a medical term itself, as well as in the business and the commercial aspects of it. With literature research, there are different databases where statistics and recent journal articles can be looked at, aside from looking into the dissertations previously done in the field. The company's website is also a good source of information about the company on the corporate level. Here we will look at the public press that the company releases on regular basis, as well as the annual reports over the years. As a secondary method, I would like to bring in as well some case studies on the current trials that Sanofi is experimenting with gene therapy. Here we can have a look closely at how the process is actually done and if there are any hurdles along the way that Sanofi has overcome. Archival study is also relevant in this research. I would like to also bring in because as a gene therapy itself is still an experimental method, it is all about trial and errors. With this, we can have a look at the reasons of failure and what are the lessons learned on both biological and business aspects. The last part of the research project is then about the analysis of the current situation before giving an expectation to the future outlook. What is essential to look at is to see how other companies are doing in the market. There is in fact a sizable competition out there. For example, Novartis, Pfizer, Bayer, GSK, who are also researching on the application of the gene therapies. Here we need to challenge Sanofi as a company. What is their competitive advantage compared to the other pharmaceutical companies? Once the competition is identified, then we should look at the market share and the growth that Sanofi has achieved over the years. Here, there are some different aspects that we can look at. The market share analysis then can be based on, for example, diseases. Is it cancer or is it cardiovascular issues? By type of vectors, here we have only two options, viral and non-viral. Market share by distribution channels. Is it distributed via hospitals, clinics, or maybe even with other pharmaceutical companies themselves? Another option would be good to look at the market share by countries and regions. Currently, Sanofi's results on their experiments are quite promising, especially on difficult issues such as Alzheimer and hemophilia. Here we can take a look at the results and the last trials and expect what will be the outcome. Will this be approved? And will diseases like Alzheimer have a cure finally? Despite being based on the same type of cell and started off with the same approach, the process of gene therapy may still vary vastly depending on the treatment of what Sanofi is aiming for. Besides, in this innovative and exciting battle, the patent and to regulate the solution can also be challenging. In relation to the processes, timing is also a major challenge, as gene therapy is an expensive process and requires many times of trials and errors. The investors in the business usually is more interested in getting the return on their investment as early and as soon as possible. This year, 2020, opposes another challenge for gene therapy in Sanofi and any other R&D projects in this company, which is COVID-19. As a big company, Sanofi is also under the pressure of delivering the solution soon to cure the pandemic. With that, the results and the budget planning might have taken a change. And here we will take a look and analyze about this. On the future outlook, as the first result of the increasing R&D investments to gene therapy, Sanofi is now definitely in a more competitive position alongside with the other pharmaceutical companies around the world. The program does not only expand the R&D portfolio in Sanofi, it also helps the company enters deeper into this market and finds its own niche. Besides the noble contribution to the world's medical transformation, Sanofi, if successfully overcome all the trials, they might bring not only the cure to Alzheimer, to children's blindness, but also perhaps cancer. With already strong oncology department, maybe there are hopes that we can look at the future when cure of cancer can be sold even over the counters.
Sanofi was founded along several partnerships and acquisitions which took place over a period of a whole century. It was originally founded in 1973, and the current incarnation, which is Sanofi Aventis, took birth in 2004. Sanofi Aventis is the merger of Sanofi Santé Labo, which is a medium-sized French pharmaceutical company, and Aventis, which is its larger Franco-German rival. In pharmaceutical industry as well as other business, M&A is a current trend even though the failure rates are actually high. There are many reasons behind resorting to M&A, such as innovation, synergies, financial benefits by bettering growth and reducing taxes, R&D improvement, the extension of portfolio of products, increasing market share, etc. So let's make a look on Sanofi M&A history. Sanofi Aventis history at a glance. Sanofi was founded as a subsidiary of Elf Aquitaine, which is a French oil company, in 1973, as we mentioned. In the same year, Santelabo, which is a biopharmaceutical company, was acquired by the multinational L'Oréal. In 1985, the Mérieux Institute acquires Pasteur Production. 4 years later, it acquires the Connaught Laboratories in Canada. The German company Hoechst acquires Marion Marvel Doe. Then, this one, combined with Roussel, Uclaf, and the pharmaceutical activities of Hoechst to create Hoechst Marion Roussel. In 1999, Ron Poulenc and Hoechst unit their life science activities in a single company. This one held the name of Aventis. In the same year, Sanofi Santé-Labo and Sanofi merged. In 2002, Aventis sells Aventis Crop Science to Bayer and Aventis Animal Health to CVC Capital Partners. 1 year later, Aventis sells Aventis Behring and its subsidiaries to CSL. Then comes the big year. In 2004, the smaller French pharmaceutical company Sanofi Santé-Labo takes over Aventis. It was the last merger leading to the current company. Then, Sanofi Aventis took the name of Sanofi and acquired the biotech company Geoenzyme, which began as a small startup in Boston. So, why is this last merger so important? Are not M&A common activities in business? At the moment of the merger with Aventis, Sanofi Santé-Labo was the second largest pharmaceutical group in France and among the top 20 worldwide. The takeover of Aventis by Sanofi Santé-Labo creates the third largest pharmaceutical company in the world. But this is not a mere merger of two companies. What if I tell you that this last merger experience was a state affair, the core of political squabbling and a real backfire for Aventis? To understand me better, maybe I need to go more in depth about the merger process. Yeah, it all started in January 2004 with the hostile takeover bid launched by Sanofi Santé-Labo. In March of the same year, there was what we can call a white night, and Novartis' takeover attempt was considered as friendly. In the same month and the same year, the national French champion was claimed by the French government. It was in favor of Sanofi Santé-Labo. In April, there was a bitter challenge between Novartis and Sanofi Santé-Labo, who are going to win. I think you expected that Sanofi is going to win. And this process ended with the foundation of Sanofi Aventis. We are going to explain each step. So the hostile takeover bid of Sanofi Santelabo was launched by Jean-François Dehecq, which is the CEO of Sanofi Santelabo. Then, Aventis has long wanted to stay an independent entity. However, to cope with the market competition, it decided to acquire its own acquirer, and at that time, Novartis has been considering its merging option with Aventis or Sanofi Santelabo. The German and French governments had agreed not to interfere during the negotiation between Aventis, Novartis and Sanofi Santelabo. However, the president of the French Republic, Jacques Chirac, stated that the presence of a national champion in the pharmaceutical industry would favor of his country. He exerted indirectly a pressure towards a merger of Aventis with Sanofi Santelabo and not with Novartis. After his statements, Novartis disclosed a merger, but under the condition of excluding the French government from the decision. However, by the end of March, Novartis was unable to provide an offer for Aventis. Therefore, its CEO, Igor Landau, met with the French Prime Minister in order to ask France for more neutrality within the negotiation process. It is important to notice that the European Commission would not act against the French government intervention since Aventis had not received a formal offer from Novartis at that time. Since Novartis was for a friendly takeover, Aventis was encouraged to negotiate the merger with it. Then, Novartis promised Aventis to protect its employees from staff reduction. Moreover, Novartis and Aventis share closure principle in research, while Aventis and Sanofi Santelabo are not. For example, while Aventis disposed of strategic alliance with biotechnology labs, research in Sanofi Santelabo was close internal without external innovation. Moreover, the investment of Aventis in R&D is up to 3 times that at Sanofi Santelabo. Then Novartis tried to exclude the French government. However, once more, the president of the French Republic, but this time Nicolas Sarkozy, organized a meeting with Sanofi, Santelabo and Aventis CEOs so as to put pressure for Sanofi Santelabo Aventis merger. It also took many measures like divesting in assets that were not compatible with the merger according to European regulators. On April 2004, a final takeover offer was presented from Sanofi Santelabo to Aventis, and the poison pill failed, so Aventis considered the deal more friendly given the improved financial conditions included in the offer. Under the terms of the revised bid, Sanofi offered 5 of its shares to each Aventis shares, and Aventis stock gained 9.2% of cumulative basis. As we can clearly see in this table, the net income measured in billion dollars of both Sanofi Santelabo and Aventis increased after their merger. After merger, a post-merger integration process was launched. We can remark that this M&A was a profitable experience since it helped gaining leverage in the market, taking advantage of synergies to cut costs, increasing development, etc. Moreover, Sanofi Aventis formed a subsidiary known as Sanofi Pasteur, which is one of the world's largest producers of vaccinations for a variety of conditions such as hepatitis A, hepatitis B, polio, etc. Merger was beneficial on many sides, like synergy, as 1,600 million euros are planned for 2006. The obtention of such synergy was unfortunately based on a cost cutting by firing people, and 4,000 employees were fired in 2004. This merger restricted the drug portfolio and asked for a revision of R&D since there is a disrupt between Sanofi Santelabo R&D and Aventis, which is less productive. There are also important points to mention, like cultural integration committee. Then the headquarters were placed in Paris. The highlight of this merger experience was the fears of the French government to protect the domestic pharmaceutical industries. Meanwhile, Novartis was more compatible with Aventis in terms of compatibility of assets, culture, research. The French government exploited the rhetorical force in the national interest to justify its interventionist policy. So, political decision and power won by the end.